Now we've got a very special guest with us here today. He's an ex-military sniper, a secret security agent for the British Intelligence Agency, and a digital forensics expert. We've got Ben Owen with us here today. We're delighted to have him here with us.
Pleasure to be here.
You've worked for many years as a cyber intelligence agent, and you've headed up many covert operations. Now, companies hire you to stress test their environments. They look at what sort of social engineering hacks, what sort of cybersecurity risks they've got. What are you finding in the marketplace? What are companies seeing, and what are you seeing in the marketplace?
Good question, George, and thank you again for having me here. I think for me, the way we look at this and the way we assess the vulnerability of an organisation, the first thing we would look at is the digital footprint. Essentially, the bigger the digital footprint, the bigger the risk towards that industry. We have to step into the mind of the adversary. Everything we do online, we are mimicking what the attackers are doing and what the hackers would be doing to that organisation. So if we can understand how that attack would take place, we can be much better placed to give the information to that company about how to stop it. What does it look like? And this is what that's going to be. Now, what we're looking at is reconnaissance of the people. So we have the technical infrastructure, we have the physical infrastructure, security infrastructure, but where we're looking at is the people that work in that organisation. What's the low-hanging fruit? What does that HR department look like? What does the cyber team look like? And really, an attacker wants the lane of least resistance, they want the low-hanging fruit, and they want money, essentially. So if we look at it like that, we're much better placed to give that consultancy that we need.
Now, we know that social engineering is probably the most popular way of gaining restricted access into organizations. Now, I'm sure the techniques have kind of evolved over time. What are social engineering hacks looking at like right now? Are they introducing new methodologies?
What we're seeing at the moment, George, is actually quite frightening because we've got the rise of artificial intelligence. Now, days gone by, social engineering attacks might have been from a DM on Facebook, asking about the football team you follow. But actually now, when we're looking at deep fake videos, we're looking at audio cloning. So not only can they position themselves to be a very believable individual, someone that you might think you know, spoofing a phone number, WhatsApping you a message, actually now they've got all of these other tools in their armory, which is actually quite worrying, and something that we're really telling businesses, you need to be aware of this, and you need to provide that awareness in your workforces, because really it's about a human tricking a human to then do the technical attack. And that human trickery is becoming easier for the adversaries, and that's what we really need to look into at the moment.
So are there any tailored techniques as well? Do they specifically target individual roles or specific industries when they're doing social hacks?
That is another great question, because there is no solid answer, I guess, to the question. Like I mentioned previously, attackers want to go for the lane of least resistance. So it might be that, yes, traditionally, attackers would go for a HR department, because HR departments are downloading resumes every day. They're dealing with invoices, lots of attachments to emails, so it's an easy pickings for an attacker. But ultimately, it comes down to the digital footprint. If they identify someone in a non-traditionally attacked department like HR, but they have a huge online footprint with lots of things that the attacker can leverage, essentially that's the one they're going to go for. Again, it's the easy pickings. The people, the biggest digital footprints are the people that are unfortunately being targeted mostly at this point.
So what's your advice for companies that are now having to deal with all of these new challenges? The techniques around social engineering can be very difficult to counter.
It can, and unfortunately there's no silver bullet solution to it, but one of the big bits of advice we always give is, if you can get rid of it, i.e. online. If there's bits of information online that you do not need, it might be a dormant Facebook account or a dormant social media account, it might be blogs or micro blogs you set up 10 years ago. If you don't need it, get rid of it. The things that you do need, lock down. We're talking multi-factor authentication, we're talking password managers, but we're also really providing counsel on how organisations can press upon the staff about the use of their personal digital footprint, because that's so important, and it does bleed into the corporate side of security, and often an area that businesses don't want to address because they don't want to come across as oppressive. But actually they really do need to address this, and there's lots of ways that can be done through some cool team building events, some seminars, keynote talks, but yeah, that's the area we're really specifically looking on at the moment to enhance their security.
Ben, thank you so much for coming to spend some time with us today.
Welcome, George. Thank you very much.